documentary that it is your hope that your students would complete medical school and then go out in the community to serve, and to serve in their in underserved communities as well. We know the importance of good healthcare providers. How do you encourage your students to do that, and share why it's important for us to have good healthcare providers and students who would go back into the community from Meharry to serve?
First of all, I think all of us recognize that whether we sign up for it or not, we are all role models, okay? And we must lead by example. Now, I'm a reproductive endocrinologist and fertility specialist. I'm about as high-paid specialty as you can get. But even in doing that, I have always worked in some part of the community where I could share my skills. And so what I tell my students, even if they're going to be oculoplastic surgeons, you can always go work a half a day at a Matthew Walker clinic. Okay, you can always go back to the community. So you don't just have to be a primary care provider. And I think that is so critical. I trained at Grady Memorial Hospital in Atlanta, the city hospital. When I started my residency, and Dr. Foster knows this, we were doing 10,000 deliveries a year. Teenage pregnancy rate was probably during that time the highest that has ever been in this country. And so I would see these young girls, 12, 13, 14, 15 years of age, coming in and delivering babies. And there was no continuity of care. And most of them looked like me. There was nobody who was counseling these young ladies about what to do after their baby was born or how to prevent that next pregnancy. And so it became very evident to me, having gone to Georgia Tech and having trained at Harvard and all of those great places, that if I wanted to see a difference in my community and in the lives of the people who look like me, I had to go back and work in those communities. And you all experience that in your business. When you're doing financial counseling or when people are coming into you for loans, etc., you recognize that if you don't go back and educate on some of the things that a lot of people take for granted, then people don't get the information. And so it's our responsibility. So I really do feel that, I mean, God didn't give me these gifts for no reason.
That's right, that's right.
I am blessed, and with that, I have to reach back and pull somebody along with me. So I feel that I don't have a choice. This is what I have to do.
And you have reached back many times and brought many people with you. So thank you. And speaking of President Obama, that was actually my next question. How do you see his initiative and focus on the healthcare crisis in our country? How do you think that will change the work that you do, or what impact or effects would that have, considering legislation and things of that nature, and greater focus on trying to change some of the things that are wrong in our healthcare system?
First of all, I think that he is committed to change. And I think that's probably the most important thing. He does not appear to be afraid of the challenge that this is going to bring. And I think that's very, very important. He does appear to be bringing new people to the table. I hope that they are the right people, though. The people who are going to bring the message, evidence-based. I'm a scientist, I only deal with evidence. Evidence-based science that will show that access is not enough. And we have a responsibility too. We have to make ourselves available to be at the table. And sometimes we have to ask to sit at the table. And many of us in the academic communities are recognizing that some of the people that have been selected may not view some of the challenges the same as we do. The ones who are out here dealing with the issues every day. So we have to avail ourselves to the opportunities when they come, and sometimes we have to push the opportunity forward to be there to tell a different side of the story. What I do believe we will see is greater access. The work that they are doing, even with the NIH, where they are sending about $10 billion that are being directed to the NIH to advance research. Much of that research will be looking at comparative effectiveness, addressing the issues of whether or not medications work the same in women versus men versus black women versus white men, etc. So we'll be looking at some effectiveness. We'll get some of that data. He is also focused on prevention and wellness. And again, we will not make a major impact in health disparities until we begin to address prevention. We need to not get the diabetes or the hypertension or the heart disease. And one way we know that we can do that, right, is exercise, watching what we eat. It is critically important that whatever your business is, whether you got one employee or whether you have 100 employees, that you have that theme throughout your workforce, because people spend most of their time at work. If you look at what we're doing at the Center for Women's Health Research, we do walk-in tours, we have an exercise core facility there, because every woman who participates in a clinical trial there has a exercise and nutrition assessment, and she has the opportunity to utilize that system, our nutritionist and our exercise core facility, during the time of the trial. And the reason for that is because we believe that if we can eliminate obesity in this country, if we can decrease obesity, we will make a major impact on health disparities. And that's particularly important for communities of color. When you are obese, your impact, the impact on your disease is greater. Even when we look at breast cancer, we are now seeing that women who are obese have poor survival rates as it relates to breast cancer, even when they have equal treatments, okay? So it is very important that we eliminate obesity, and it has to start young. So one of the things I want to give a plug for is that we just started an adolescent exercise program in the pediatrics department. So we have a separate exercise core facility for adolescents at Meharry Medical College. So any kid that is in the right age range, we have them exercise in that facility. We put them in a program, and we're seeing phenomenal results. And the great thing is our medical students and dental students and graduate students are their mentors. And so they come there and exercise with them 2 to 3 days a week.